Yo, what is good, yo? It's your boy Ty, back here with another video, guys. In this video today, I am going to be going over my top 30 players in the NBA currently. Now, it was hard to come up with this list because there were some guys that were on the verge of making the list that just didn't quite make the cut. And I'll go over just a few of them that didn't quite make the top, or make the cut at the top of the video. But before we get started, if you are new to the channel and haven't yet, please smash that subscribe button as we're on the road to 35,000 subscribers. And let's hop right into the video. Now, if there is anybody I missed over the course of the video, please comment them down below because I might have looked over somebody while making the video. But the two guys that probably were the closest to making the cut that didn't quite make the cut for me was one, Jamal Murray, and two, Vucevic. Those two guys were super close to making the cut for me, but I just couldn't quite put them in over the list I have. So starting the list off at number 30 is Ja Morant. Now, as a rookie, averaged 18 points and 7 rebounds, or 7 assists. But guys, he does more than just that. If you look at the Memphis Grizzlies, they have the potential to be very special here in the next few years with Brandon Clark, Jaren Jackson, and obviously Ja Morant. So he averaged 17.8 points, 7.3 assists, did shoot only 33% from 3, but I expect him to obviously improve upon that. And his effective field goal percentage wasn't great at 51%. But what you got to realize about Ja Morant is he's only a rookie and he makes everybody around him so much better. So he makes the Grizzlies just so much better, and honestly put them in position to make the playoffs when nobody really thought they had a chance earlier in the year. Ja Morant made the Memphis Grizzlies so much better, and that's why he comes in at number 30 on my top 30 NBA player list. Now, I know a lot of you guys may disagree on this, but coming in at number 29, one step ahead of Ja Morant, I have Zion Williamson because he was better than Ja Morant when he did play this year. Now, I know he did not shoot a ton of threes, but on the threes he did attempt, which weren't too many, he shot 43%. If he can consistently shoot above 33% from 3, he will be absolutely lights out. You guys see his effective field goal percentage was 59.2%. Did average 22.5 points, 6.3 rebounds, as well as the 2 assists. But when Zion Williamson was on the floor, he was absolutely ridiculous. And he didn't even play a ton of minutes. When you look at his per 36, he's averaging 29 points, 8 rebounds on, obviously the same shooting. So he was injured, a lot of the year, and I'm just hopefully Zion can stay healthy in his future because I think he has the potential to be a consistent NBA All-Star and a superstar in this league. Zion Williamson comes in at number 29 on my top 30 NBA player list. Coming in at number 28, we have Donovan Mitchell, and I absolutely love Donovan Mitchell, and just the way he's been playing in the playoffs, you could not leave him off of this list. You absolutely could not. It's between really him and Jamal Murray. They've been duking it out in the playoffs, but I like Donovan Mitchell just a little bit more. Mitchell averages 24 points, 4.5 rebounds, 4.5 assists on 36.6% shooting from 3, which is very elite. Now, his effective field goal percentage is only 51.3%, but similar to Ja Morant, he's a very ball-dominant player. Now, Mike Conley has kind of helped Donovan Mitchell at least a little bit this year compared to Ricky Rubio, but you cannot deny how good Donovan Mitchell can be. And even in his 50-point outing in the loss against the Nuggets a few days ago, he's came back and just played absolutely ridiculous in the playoffs. He's shown what he can do basically all year, but it's been on the biggest stage in the playoffs when he's played the best. I could absolutely not leave Donovan Mitchell off of this list. He comes in at number 28 on my top 30 NBA player list. Coming in right one step ahead at number 27 is a player a lot of people will probably disagree with me on, and I'm absolutely okay with that. But there is no denying what Jrue Holiday can not only do for the New Orleans Pelicans, what he can do for any team he plays on. Jrue Holiday this year has averaged 19 points, 7 rebounds, or 5 rebounds and 7 assists. Sorry, I got them mixed up. But he's averaging absolutely incredible stats. 51.6 effective field goal percentage while shooting 35% from 3. As well as being an all-defensive player, guys. Jrue Holiday is one of the most underrated players in the league, and I think the reason he is because he gets overshadowed by the Brandon Ingram, the Zions, It's just Lonzo Ball. The Pelicans have so many good players, but the thing is, Jrue Holiday's been doing it for his whole career. His entire career, he's been an absolutely incredible player for the Pelicans. Been super consistent. Now, if the Wolves could get this guy, I know he's on an expiring deal, I do believe, but I would love to see him in a Timberwolves uniform. I'm higher on Jrue Holiday than most people are. He comes in at number 27 on my top 30 NBA player list. Coming in at number 26 on my NBA player list is Bam Adebayo. The Miami Heat have a lot of star power with him, and Jimmy Butler obviously gets the majority of attention, but Bam has taken an absolutely incredible leap this year compared to last year. This year he's averaging 16 points, 10 rebounds while averaging 5 assists, only 2.8 turnovers, so almost has that 2-to-1 assist to turnover ratio. The one thing about Bam is he can't shoot, but he is very efficient from 2. Can knock down a mid-range jumper here and there. It has a decent floater game as well. If you just watch Bam on the Heat, you will see how good he makes everybody around him better as well. Just because of his ball handling ability, his passing ability. Even when Jimmy Butler's not on the court, Bam is kind of that go-to guy. I think Bam is going to continue to improve, and honestly, we could see him cracking the top 20 even as soon as next year as far as NBA players. One of the most underrated players in the league, in my opinion. Bam Adebayo comes in at number 26 on my top 30 NBA player list. Coming in at number 25 is Devin Booker. Now, pre-bubble, I wasn't as high on Devin Booker, but what he did in the bubble leading Phoenix to, what was it, an 8-0 record? Listen, Phoenix has all the makings of being a very good NBA team if they can put it all together, which is sad for the Timberwolves because the Timberwolves will probably not be able to get Devin Booker. But Devin this year is averaging 26.6 points, same thing he averaged last year, 6.5 assists, 3.8 turnovers, which turnovers are going to happen with a ball-dominant player like Booker. His effective field goal percentage this year is 54.4, while shooting 35% from deep. Last year, he kind of had a down year from deep, shooting 32%. But other than that, you see his career three-point percentage is upwards of 35%. So you know he's going to be getting it down from behind the arc, as well as being a very good mid-range player, a good assist guy. Devin Booker is going to be your number one option on offense, more likely than not. Devin Booker comes in at number 25 on my top 30 NBA player list. Coming in at number 24 is Kyle Lowry, and Kyle Lowry has been getting it done for a long time. It's crazy to think that he is 33 years old and still playing as good of basketball as he is. This season, he's averaging 19 points, 7 assists, or 7.5 assists, 5 rebounds. The one thing about Kyle Lowry, his assist to turnover ratio is super good. Now he is, it's down from what it was last year. Last year's 8.7 assists to 2.8 turnovers was absolutely ridiculous. But even this year, it is still very good. You see this season he's shooting 35% from 3. His effective field goal percentage isn't always going to be the best, but most point guards aren't. You're going to see point guards and shooting guards effective field goal percentage most likely being down compared to most big guys. But still, he is able to get it done. A very all-around good player, a good defender. He rebounds well at his height at 6 feet tall, averaging 5 rebounds. There's not a player I like watching more than Kyle Lowry. Just the way he competes. A lot of people don't like him because he flops, does this and that. But the way he competes, nobody can take that away from him. I absolutely love Kyle Lowry. He comes in at number 24 on my top 30 NBA player list. Coming in at number 23 on my top NBA player list is Bradley Beal. Now, because the Wizards are so bad, a lot of what Bradley Beal does goes unnoticed. But how can it go unnoticed, man? The guy averaged over 30 points this season, while averaging 6 assists and 4 rebounds, shooting 35% from 3, and his effective field goal percent of 52. He's basically, what he gives you and what Devin Booker gives you are very similar. Their stats are very similar. Their percentages are super similar. They are very similar players. They're both able to go get you a bucket. And if you're looking at, what the Timberwolves need, I'm a Timberwolves fan. Both these guys would be great to get. Both these guys would be great to get. I think Bradley Beal is that one step ahead of Devin Booker. That is why Bradley Beal comes in at number 23 on my top 30 NBA player list. Now, I know a lot of people have mixed feelings about Kyrie Irving and what he gives you on the basketball court, but there's no doubt that over the course of his last 4 seasons, Kyrie Irving has been absolutely stellar. This season, specifically, he's averaging 27 points, 6 assists, as well as 5 rebounds, shooting 39% from 3. Effective field goal percent is very good for a point guard at 54% as well. And I mean, I know a lot of people think Kyrie Irving's toxic, this and that, but listen, I have respect for what Kyrie Irving can do on the basketball court. Would I like him on my team? I don't know. I've never been in that position. But even if you look what he did in Cleveland at his biggest moment when a title was on the line, he performed on the biggest stage. There's no taking away what Kyrie Irving has already done throughout his career. And I think when you pair him and KD up next year, it is going to be a sight to see. Kyrie Irving comes in at number 22 on my top 30 NBA player list. Another player that is very, very interesting because he hasn't played this season is Klay Thompson. But when you look at his last 2 seasons that he did play in, he averaged 20 points and 21.5 points respectively. His rebound and assist numbers don't tell the full story. What Klay gives you is an absolutely incredible defense. His last 5 years, he's been healthy. He has made an all-star game. Shoots over 40% from 3 in all of his last 4 seasons, averaging out to like probably 42%. Effective field goal percentage is going to be good as well because but most of his attempts come from 3. But yeah, Klay Thompson, what he gives you on the basketball court, it can't be really fully taken in by his stats. I mean, you see his point numbers, but his defense is absolutely incredible, and it is very, very, very important for what the Warriors do. Klay Thompson, I'm expecting to have a very, very big next year as well as Stephen Curry. He comes in at number 21 on my top 30 NBA player list. Now, coming in at number 20 is a very interesting player. He got traded basically for Russell Westbrook in a package deal, and the Thunder were thought to be just kind of a rebuilding team. But Chris Paul said, wait a minute, who's rebuilding? He's not the type of guy that just, gets sent somewhere and is going to accept not making the playoffs. What Chris Paul has done this year at 34 years old is absolutely incredible, averaging 18 points, 7 assists, 5 rebounds, 55% effective field goal shooting while shooting 37% from deep. He has been the key piece and why the Thunder are so good. Now, don't get me wrong, the Thunder have some other very, very good pieces around him with Shea. They got Dennis Schroeder, even a guy like Gallinari, Steven Adams. They got a lot of good pieces, but Chris Paul has led them to a lot of success. In making the series versus the Rockets very, very interesting. Although the Rockets obviously are without Russell Westbrook right now, it is going to be a very, very exciting finish to that series. Chris Paul has done it over the course of his career, and honestly, he's a top point guard of all time. I will say that now. I'm not going to say he's the best point guard, obviously, because he's not, but you could make a debate that Chris Paul is a top 10 point guard of all time. I mean, what he has done over the course of his career, his consistency, everything about Chris Paul, I absolutely love. He is very, very elite. He comes in at number 20 on my top 30 NBA player list. Coming in at number 19 is Pascal Siakam, averaging 23 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists. You guys, I mean, the Toronto Raptors as a whole have just changed my whole perception on the game of basketball. Now, I will say this. Pascal Siakam was so much more efficient last year, but he's had to take over more of the scoring role without Kawhi Leonard. So you guys see his effective field goal percentage obviously dipped, but that, it's to be expected. He's having to take some tougher shots and this and that, but he's had a bigger role this year, and he's obviously a very good defender. Averaging 23 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists on 36% shooting from deep. His effective field goal percentage is down at 51% compared to 59% of last year, but that can't take away what Siakam can do. First time All-Star this year, and I expect him to be All-Star, All-Star, All-Star in the next 3 years. If he's not, I will be very, very surprised. Spicy P has done his thing and comes in at number 19 on my top 30 NBA player list. Coming in at number 18 for me is Russell Westbrook. Now, some people have feelings all over the place on Brody. They have feelings all over the place on Russell Westbrook. And I don't blame them. But what I will say is post-Capella trade, he has been lights out. And that's something a lot of people can't argue. he put up MVP type numbers post Capella trade. Nobody can stop him when he has the floor spacing. He's not an efficient player. He hasn't been his whole career. But what he's done post Capella trade, he has been efficient. He's averaging 27 points this year, 8 rebounds, 7 assists, and his highest effective field goal percentage that we've seen throughout the course of his career at 49.3%. Still, his 3-point shooting is at 26%. So you know what you're getting out of Russ. He is going to be an absolute dog. He is going to go and keep going the entire game. His energy, he's what Houston needs right now. Houston needs a spark, and Russell Westbrook, if he plays in Game 5, will give Houston exactly that. I think if he comes back, Houston has a chance to make a run in the playoffs, and he will be a very instrumental part in that. Russell Westbrook is one of my favorite players in the league. He comes in at number 18 on my top 30 list. Coming in at number 17 is Paul George. Now, this is another interesting guy to me. Obviously, he's been struggling greatly in the playoffs, but he's been absolutely incredible throughout the course of his career. This year, he's averaging 21 points, 6 rebounds, and 4 assists. So, obviously, his numbers are down. A lot of that's because, he only played in 48 games, and he has a better team surrounding him. But he's still shooting this year. He's is his career high in 3-point percentage at 41%. His effective field goal percentage is 54%, which is also very, very good. It's hard to tell with Paul George because he did only play 48 games this season and only averaged 29 minutes. But Paul George is still very, very elite, and he needs to be respected as one of the stars in the game. He easily could be a top 15 player, but for me, I think some guys have surpassed him, and you guys will see that over the course of this video. Paul George comes in at number 17 on my top 30 NBA player list. Coming in at number 16 is Jayson Tatum. Yes, I said some people surpassed Paul George, and I think Jayson Tatum is one of those people. First-time All-Star this year. In 66 games played, averaged 23 points and 7 rebounds on 40% shooting from deep. His effective field goal percentage is at 53% as well. So, very similar kind of stats to Paul George. Very, very similar. But guys, Jayson Tatum, Paul George are both very, very incredible players in their own right. It's really a preference between the two who you prefer. But Jayson Tatum has kind of came into his own this year, and I just expect him to continue to grow into an absolute superstar. In my opinion, I say in my opinion because I'm not as high on another guy from Boston. He is the best player on the Boston Celtics, and I don't even think it's particularly close. Jayson Tatum coming in at number 16 on my top 30 NBA player list. Coming in at number 15 on my top 30 NBA player list is Ben Simmons. Now, this guy's another mixed bag. A lot of people are high on him. A lot of people don't think he's that, because he can't shoot. He limits your offense. What I will say is him paired with Joel Embiid is absolutely terrible. That's just a bad pairing in itself. But Ben Simmons is one of the best defenders in the league if he's not, a top 3 defender in the league. He's absolutely incredible, and a lot of people don't realize how good he is on the defensive end. This year, he averaged 16 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists on, 58% shooting. Obviously, he doesn't shoot threes. That's one thing of Ben. He's still young, but he needs to be able to at least knock down wide open threes to at least have opponents respect him. But still, without the 3-ball, he is still absolutely incredible, and you can't take away what he can do for a team on both ends of the court. I absolutely am a huge fan of Ben Simmons. He comes in at number 15 on my top 30 NBA player list. Coming in at number 14, the third best center in the NBA is Joel Embiid. And when you get down to it, Embiid this year averaged 23 points, 11 rebounds, while shooting an effective field goal percentage of 52. Yes, I rounded up to 52. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt. A lot of people say Embiid can knock down it. Okay, yes, he can knock down a 3. This year he shot 33%. The past 2 seasons he shot 30%. Listen, I'm not going to say Embiid's not a good player because he is absolutely a very good player. But when it comes down to it, he is a post-up player. The NBA is not a post-up game anymore. And I think when you have Joel Embiid on the court, he limits what you can do. Everybody plays around him, and it's not a bad thing because Joel Embiid is absolutely a superstar in the league. It's tough for me to put him any higher than that because of how limited. I say limited on the offensive end because of how post-up heavy Joel Embiid is. In the post-up, he is efficient for the post-up, but that's not being an efficient player. And in my opinion, Joel Embiid he's not bad, but he's overrated. A lot of people overrate him, and in my opinion, he's the third best center in the league. Joel Embiid comes in at number 14 on my top 30 NBA player list. Coming in at number 13 is one of the most underrated players in the league, in Khris Middleton. Now, I know he's not been performing well in the playoffs. I understand that. But this season, he averaged 21 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists on 41% from 3, an effective field goal percentage of 57% while knocking down 91% of his free throws. Guys, those are incredible stats. I don't think a lot of people realize how incredible those stats are and rare they are to come by. 21 points, 42% from deep, 92% from the free throw line, 6 points, 4 assists. Guys, I'm a huge fan of Khris Middleton. I know he's not been playing that well in the playoffs, but what Khris Middleton did on the court this year in less than 30 minutes a game is absolutely incredible. You can't take that away from him. And he's playing with, an arguably the best player in the league, according to some. Khris Middleton is absolutely incredible, very overlooked, and if he turns it on, the Bucks have a very good chance to win it all this year. Khris Middleton comes in at number 13 on my top 30 player list. Coming in at number 12 on my top 30 NBA player list is Nikola Jokic. Now, I will say in the latter part of the year, Jokic played a lot better, but at the start of the year, he wasn't that good. And I don't say that in a bad way as if Jokic wasn't good. It's just compared to the year prior, he wasn't as good this year as the year prior. Early on in the year, like I said, lately he's been turning it on. But here's the thing that bothers me with Jokic, and I'll explain. This year he averaged 19 points, 10 rebounds, and 7 assists. Super good. Assist to turnover ratio is absolutely incredible. Effective field goal percentage is pretty good at 56%. He shot 31% from 3 with a very slow release. Listen, here's the problem with Jokic. First of all, if you shoot 30% from 3, you don't really have to respect it that much. And with Jokic's slow release, guy can kind of play in between. So a guy like, obviously he's caused Rudy Gobert a ton of problems in this series, but I'm just saying, as far as floor spacing, rim protection, he doesn't give you as much. He gives you more than Embiid, but he doesn't give you as much as who the best center is in the league. And honestly, Jokic is a terrible defender. There's no way around it. An awful defender. Jokic is still better than Embiid in my opinion, but he is not the best big in the game. He is not the best big in the NBA. That's my personal opinion, and I will stick with it forever. Jokic comes in at number 12 on my top 30 NBA player list. Coming in at number 11 is a guy I don't like, but you can't deny how good Jimmy Butler is. He comes in at number 11 on my top 30 NBA player list. All defensive team and all-star. He can do it all. He's been healthy the majority of the season, played 58 games, averaging 20 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists. He hasn't shot the ball well this season, but still, 24% from 3 obviously is terrible. No doubt about that. Absolutely terrible, but he gives you so much more as just a playmaker, a great defender, a good slasher, attacking the rim. And the thing about his effective field goal percentage that doesn't tell the full story is how much he gets to the free throw line. So when you look at the advanced shooting, his true shooting percentage this year is up. It's at 59% because of how much he gets to the free throw line and how effective he is from there. That's what Jimmy Butler's stats that's why they do not truly tell the full story. 8 out of his 20 points come from the free throw line every single game. And so that's why I think Jimmy Butler is so valuable. He comes in at number 11 on my top 30 NBA player list. Coming in at number 10 on my top 30 NBA player list is Karl Anthony-Towns. When you look at Karl Anthony-Towns' career and his stats, they're absolutely incredible. No other center in NBA history is able to do what Cat has done. This season, he's only played in 35 games because he was injured for the latter part of the season. He averaged in those 35 games 27 points, 11 rebounds, and 4.5 assists. His turnover rate is a little up, especially compared to like a Jokic. The assist to turnover ratio isn't as good with Cat, but it's still improved over what he did last season. including those stats, he is shooting 41% from 3 on much tougher threes than he's ever taken in his career, because he's had more of a playmaking part of our offense this year, shooting an effective field goal percentage of 60. That's unheard of. That's unheard of from a stretch big. Embiid shooting 52% rounded up. Jokic is at 55, 56. Cat is above them, especially his ability to stretch the floor. Listen, there is no center that can do what Cat can do. If Cat is on a winning team next year, it'll change the whole dynamic, the respect level on Karl's name. I firmly believe he is the best center in the league and comes in at number 10 on my top 30 NBA player list. Coming in at number 9 is Damian Lillard. This season he averaged 30 points, 8 assists, and 4 rebounds, shooting a very good 40% from 3, effective field goal percentage of 56%. What Dame did this year, he was absolutely lights out. It's just his team that surrounded him wasn't good enough. They were very, very banged up. Even, the Blazers as a whole were banged up the whole season. And Dame never really was able to find. I mean, in the bubble, he found his rhythm, but it's tough when you're as banged up as you are. I mean, he played 38 minutes a night. And Dame was even hurt at a point this season. It was just tough for the Trailblazers this year. But nonetheless, you can't take away how good Dame was this year and how good he's been over the course of his last 5 years. Damian Lillard comes in at number 9 on my top 30 NBA player list. Coming in at number 8 is Anthony Davis, averaging 26 points, 9 rebounds in 34 minutes a game. Also averaging 3 assists and 2.5 turnovers. So, I mean, on the offensive end, it doesn't tell the full story of what Anthony Davis is going to give you. Plus, he gets to the free throw line a lot. So, similar to Jimmy Butler, his effective field goal percentage isn't great. But then when you look at his true shooting goal percentage, you're going to see it boosted a little bit. Still, Anthony Davis, he's better than Embiid offensively, in my opinion. But when you compare him to the likes of Cat and Jokic, he's not quite to that level on offense. But what he does better than every single one of those guys mentioned is play defense. He's a 3 all defensive player. And just absolutely incredible. I mean, on the defensive end. His 3-point percentage this year is at 33, so that's the one downfall. Similar to Jokic, similar to Embiid. They're not that consistent from 3, and I've even seen, games coming down to the wire and teams, I think it was the Brooklyn Nets, left him wide open from 3. He missed, and that's just what teams give Anthony Davis. That's what they have to give him, and that's one thing Anthony Davis needs to improve on in the future. Nonetheless, Anthony Davis is still very, very good, coming in at number 8 on my top 30 NBA player list. Coming in at number 7 on my top 30 NBA player list is the beard, James Harden. We haven't ever seen a player like Harden, and probably never will, averaging 34 points, 7 rebounds, 7.5 assists. Very similar stats to last year. Shooting 36% from 3. Effective field goal percentage is 54, but similar to AD and Jimmy Butler, James Harden gets to the line a ton, which boosts his true shooting goal percentage. James Harden on the offensive end is the best player in the league. He is, on the offensive end, the best player in the league. He is unguardable, and he can keep a team in it by himself. As far as the Houston Rockets are concerned, they don't have a very good team right now outside of James Harden. They truly don't, because Russ is hurt right now. Now, once Russ is back, it changes the dynamic. But right now, the Houston Rockets don't have a good team. And really, the series is 2-2 against OKC, but it feels like it should at least be 3-1 Houston. And I don't know. James Harden just brings a completely different dynamic. He comes in at number 7 on my top 30 NBA player list. Some people may think I'm biased on this, but coming in at number 6 on my top 30 NBA player list is Stephen Curry. We're going to not even look at his 2019-20 stats in which he played 5 games. Because, I mean, you play 5 games, averaging 27 minutes a game. You're not going to get the full story. When you look at his 2 past years before that, he averaged, about 27 points a game. 5 assists, 5 rebounds, while shooting 43% from 3 and effective field goal percent in both of his years. Both of his past 2 seasons above 60. You don't see that very often, shooting above 90% from the free throw line. So, when you're looking at it, Steph's averaging over 26 points, shooting a crazy percent from 3, as well as being the main focus of every team he plays. He really opened it up for KD because he allowed KD to do what KD needed to do. And that Golden State team was just, it was insane how good they truly were. I absolutely love Stephen Curry, love what he can do, and I expect him to have a huge bounce back year this upcoming year. Stephen Curry comes in at number 6 on my top 30 NBA player list. Coming in at number 5 on my top 30 NBA player list is Kevin Durant. Now, a lot of people may have him higher, may think he's the best in the league, and I think he's close. I do think he is close, but we just got so much talent in the league. It's very, very tough. This season, or not this season, because you heard this season. Last season, he averaged 26 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists on very efficient shooting. Shot 35% from 3. Not very good, but the year before he shot 42% from 3. Effective field goal percentage was very, very good. And remembering, he took kind of I'm not to say he took a back seat, but he took a scoring cut with Klay and Steph running beside him. But that also opened up more for him, which, his effective or his shooting percentage should have seen a boost from that as well. But, Kevin Durant with the Nets, with Kyrie Irving, will be a very interesting dynamic. And what Kevin Durant did in the playoffs before he got hurt was absolutely incredible to watch. I like watching Kevin Durant play. Do I like Kevin Durant? No, I do not like Kevin Durant. But you got to respect greatness. Kevin Durant is one of the greatest scorers we have ever seen. He comes in at number 5 on my top 30 NBA player list. Coming in at number 4 on my top 30 NBA player list is a guy that I continue to gain a ton of respect for, and Luka Doncic. In just his second year, is averaging 28 points, 9 rebounds, and 9 assists. Almost a triple-double in his second year, shooting an effective field goal percentage of 53. Obviously, his three-point shot is something he needs to improve on. But yeah, what Luka can give you on the offensive end is tough to match. It's tough to match in any form. He absolutely took over in the game against the Clippers the other night, in which he had, well, I don't even know what it was, 43, 17, and 12. Something along those lines was just absolutely ridiculous, man. Luka is just, he's something of his own. He's not quick. He's not super athletic. But just the way he can manipulate defensive players is absolutely incredible. He's not James Harden, but the way he's changed kind of the offensive game is kind of in that light. He just gets it done on a consistent basis. Luka Doncic is going to continue to emerge. He comes in at number 4 on my top 30 NBA player list. Coming in at number 3 is a guy that I think a lot of people still overlook, and I do not know why. Kawhi Leonard is so good. He is absolutely incredible. This season, averaging 27.7 rebounds, 5 assists, shooting 38% from 3, an effective field goal percentage of 52, and just getting it done on a consistent basis. Don't be surprised when Kawhi Leonard wins another championship this year. I would not be surprised. Are they my favorites? No, but don't be surprised when it does. A lot of people keep doubting Kawhi Leonard for some reason. I don't know why. He keeps getting it done over and over again and just goes about his business. I love Kawhi Leonard, and that's why he comes in at number 3 on my top 30 NBA player list. Coming in at number 2 on my top 30 NBA player list is Giannis Antetokounmpo, and I hate putting him at number 2. I absolutely hate it, but I can't put him any higher. This season, in 30 minutes per game, averaging 29 points, 14 rebounds, and 6 assists. Yes, I rounded them mostly up, with 4 turnovers a game. What kills him, though, is his three-point shot. Not only does he only shoot 30% from 3, it's kind of a slow release, it's weird release, and he just looks uncomfortable shooting the ball. But Giannis is just so good even without a 3-ball. He more than makes up for it. This season, his effective field goal percentage is 59%, but he only shoots 63% from 3 also. If he finds a way to improve his 3-ball and improve his free throw shooting ability, we could be looking at the greatest player of all time. Yes, I said it. We could be looking at the greatest player of all time. When you look at his per 36-minute stats, he's averaging 34 points, 16 rebounds, and 7 assists. Listen, guys, we could be looking at the greatest player of all time if he just improves on those 2 aspects of his game. He's already the defensive player of the year. Giannis Antetokounmpo is absolutely incredible, coming in at number 2 on my top 30 NBA player list. As much as I wanted to put Giannis at number 1, I just couldn't. What LeBron James is doing in what year is this? This is 16th, 17th year? I don't know. It's his 17th year. And he's putting up 25 points, 10 assists, 8 rebounds, shooting 35% from deep, an effective field goal percentage of 55. Look, I love Giannis, but I still think LeBron is the best player in the league. He makes everybody else around him so much better. And I truly believe LeBron is the best player in the league. Now we'll see, if the playoffs continue, which I think they're scheduled to, and just kind of how LeBron and AD are able to work together. But I would want nothing more than seeing a LeBron versus Giannis matchup in the finals. That would be absolutely incredible. Giannis has Khris Middleton and company. LeBron has AD and company. It would just be an absolute dogfight, an absolute slugfest, and that's what I would like to see more than anything. The first best player versus the second best player would be an absolute treat, and I would love to see it. But guys, that's going to wrap it up for the video today, guys. Drop your comments down below. Which of these players was I the furthest off on? Who are your top 10? I don't want your top 30, but tell me your top 10 players in the NBA right now. Are you guys higher on KD than I am, or is Luka too low, too high? Let me know, guys. Drop a like on the video, subscribe if you are new, and as always, man, I love y'all, and have a blessed day.